Hey guys, this is bringing you another video, and welcome to another kinda dev blog video. It's a bit different because it's not about the development necessarily of League. It's about the finances. HuzzyBidner's coming in right now. But yeah, this is about the business model in 2023. The reason why they're doing this is there has been a few controversies in the last year to two, and obviously the biggest one has been the $200 Jin skin that a lot of people were very unhappy about. And including myself thought it was very predatory to do that. And some of you, just before we get into the video, will kind of know Huz used to do a lot of loot videos. Where have they gone? Yeah, I kind of stopped doing them. I am a firm believer if you want to have any type of change when it comes to a private corporation and they're doing decisions you don't like, yeah, you vote with your wallet. You don't pay for that thing. You don't have to make a big sing and a dance about it. But if they see, oh, we did that Jin thing and our revenue actually has gone down, there usually is a correlation between that, and they'll kind of work it out pretty quick. So we'll see what Riot says. The one thing I will say about these blogs is a lot of the time it does feel like it's a big sing and a dance, but there's no meat on the bone as such. Like they don't really give answers to anything. But we'll see what they say. It is worth mentioning that Riot Brightmoon, who is, I believe, at the time of recording this until early next year, is the executive producer of League of Legends, so a very important role. He is moving on from League of Legends. I have said, and if you've been paying attention to these dev blogs, every now and then, yeah, it's a different person, it's a different executive producer, it's a different head of League of Legends. They are changing their staff and have done within Riot a lot in the last few years, and all of it looks to be the person's choice, from what we can tell. You know, we don't know the inner workings particularly, but it all seems to be, oh, I'm moving away, goodbye. And a lot of them are moving to other places within Riot. You know, there are a decent amount that have left Riot, sure. But there are some that are staying within Riot. They're just moving to different games. A lot of them, obviously, the big names have all moved to the MMORPG. So if I was a betting man, I would imagine Riot Brightmoon is going to be going to the MMORPG. So anyway, let's get into the actual article. And if you're wondering, Huz, why are you wearing a tank top in the middle of December and Christmas and winter? I've got a pain under my arm. I'm actually going to the doctor's in a couple of hours about it. So it's obviously easier for a doctor to see that if I'm wearing one of these. So that's why, but yeah. Anyway, so in 2017, we published a blog about the League's business model. So again, quite a long time ago. And in recent years, we've been seeing growing feedback that our decisions don't always feel connected to an underlying approach, meaning the model we shared in that blog are no longer top of mind. We're here to address the feedback and share how our model has evolved over time alongside League and the community. And then the TLDR is we care about making a great game above all else. Winning in League is about playing better, not spending money. You should feel good about what you buy, and what you get out of League reflects what's important to you. So before we get into the more, the actual explanations, what I would say is, I touched upon it just now. The last time that they did one of these was 2017. So that is quite a long time ago. Obviously, the management within League has massively changed since then. Like, we've got a new CEO within Riot. Nicolo is no longer the CEO. We've had, I can't even guess how many heads of department or heads of League of Legends or executive producer of League. There seems to be quite a few of them that have happened and gone. We've obviously had different cosmetic managers. We've had different balance managers. It's basically an entirely different staff at the front of the game. And that naturally is going to make things change. It's different opinions, different vibes, different methods of everything. So am I surprised that things have changed? No. And what I would also say is, and you can't really beat around the bush, League is an older game, and even from 2017, it's quite a bit older. We're about to get into 2024. The game was released in 2009. They don't publicly release information about like player number and stuff, but I would imagine the player number has gotten lower. And that's not a dig at League and about decisions that they've made about League. That's just natural for an older game. World of Warcraft doesn't have as many players as it did in its peak. RuneScape probably doesn't have as many. EverQuest, all the old games, they don't have as many players. And that's just natural. So a lot of the time what happens, and you do find it, World of Warcraft's a big example, when there's less players, they tend to get more aggressive with monetization because they're trying to make as much as they did when the player base was big, but with only the remaining players. And I don't know if anybody else has watched. He's been blowing up on especially YouTube Shorts. Pirate Software. He was an ex-developer at Blizzard. He worked on a few things. One of the things he worked on was StarCraft 2: Wings of Liberty. And one of his shorts, he literally explained that one of the first ever mount cosmetics Blizzard did was like a horse with wings and stuff. That horse with wings that cost $15 made more money than the entire StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. The game that he worked on, I don't know if it was a DLC or the actual game, it made that one horse cosmetic made more than the whole StarCraft thing he was working on. And that does show you the power of cosmetics. And, you know, a $15 horse isn't that bad. But this is where I personally kind of draw the line. A $200 gacha Jin skin, that's too predatory. So we'll see what Riot says. I'm going to bet they're not going to address that at all. It is worth mentioning. And they did do a video, by the way, on side this. And their opinion to it was there are some things in League you should be able to buy and not earn. But there's also should be a lot of things that you should be able to earn and not buy. Obviously, you cannot buy rank legally, obviously, within the actual game itself. You cannot buy mastery. You know, you have to earn that. But should there be a exclusive skin that you cannot earn? Sure. Should it be a gacha gambling predatory system? No. That is so toxic in so many ways. It should not be that. And I think Riot should be a bit ashamed of that. And that's why I've stopped doing loot videos. Like, I just think it's awful. You should not be doing that. At least if you want to do that, and let's say, you know, okay, you're guaranteed to get the Jin skin if you spend $200 worth of these boxes. To get rid of the gacha gambling element to it, they should offer it as well for a flat amount. And even if that flat amount, by the way, is a stupid $100 for one skin, sure. Do it, but then at least everyone knows how much it is. They're not hiding behind a gambling gacha system that's predatory. At least you're offering it as a very high price one-off skin. I think that would be a lot healthier, but that's just me. So let's get into it though. Oh, that's a short paragraph about we care about making a great game. You would think that the paragraph might be bigger, but anyway, what are they saying? So we aspire for League of Legends to be one of the greatest games in the world for decades to come. This isn't just about being a premier competitive PC game. League is also one of the world's leading esports. It is music, it is cinematics, it is deep and growing IP. I don't know if anybody else has noticed something here. It is a community of incredible fans fueling everything from cosplay to TV shows. Your investment gives us the means to make these things. Okay, so, guys, we care about making a great game above everything else. But it's esport, it's music, it's cinematics, it's a growing IP, and it's fans and a TV show. That's not the game. Like, that's... Is that not ironic? Like, they literally are going, we want to make a great game. Okay, tell us how you're making a great game. Talk about, okay, you funding skins allows us to hire more developers that then we can come up with really cool ideas, and we can do this big map update. They've not mentioned that. You funding the game, more developers, better ideas, new cool champions. They've not mentioned that. Making a great game above all else, and then literally not mentioning how you're making the game great. That's really silly by them. And obviously, that's just whoever's wrote this blog, but that's really, really, really silly. Like, I don't know how that got approved. If you want to show the fans, okay, we're a free-to-play game, and League of Legends is, and that's cool. But if you do pay for stuff, what you're paying for is League of Legends to be better. The vast majority of player that even spends any money does not care about esports, does not care about the music, does not care about cinematics, does not care about anything other than the game. The vast majority of people, they don't care. And then we care about making a great game above all else. Yeah, they haven't said how they're doing that at all. That's a bit weak. And you know, this basically should be a second category. Is okay, say how you're making a great game with the investment of monetization. Cool. Then there should have been another category going, the monetization allows us to expand League of Legends' IP. That's what it should be. The primary should be the game. They've mentioned more about other things than the actual game. The game is we inspire it to be one of the greatest games of all time and in decades to come. That's it. That's what you got for the game. But hey, League is also an esport, music, cinematic, growing IP, incredible fans, cosplay, TV show. So more things were mentioned about making a great game that weren't the game. That, I would also say, sometimes is the problem with Riot. And maybe I'm not even overthinking it. One of my complaints within Riot has been in the last few years, ever since League 10. Riot was their big thing, is we've been called Riot Games for so long, but we have never had an S. You know, we were Riot Game and we had League of Legends. They were then Riot Games because they brung out Legends of Runeterra, TFT, Valorant, a bunch of other games. Ever since that they became Riot Games and multiple games other than League, it's like they're an excited puppy and they can't keep focus. And they get really excited for the next thing. Oh, the next thing's Legends of Runeterra, our card game. Yeah, when was the last time you heard anything about that game? You don't. Oh, Valorant's coming out. Unless you're in the world of Valorant, you don't hear about it. You don't hear about TFT if you're not in that world of TFT. You don't hear Riot actively talking about their other, like, older games anymore, but they'll talk about their upcoming stuff, and then the moment that becomes 3 months old, you won't ever hear about it again. That's a problem, I would say. And I think, again, League is the primary thing that it's kind of like swept under the rug because it's their old game. You know, yeah, it's the thing that keeps the lights on in the office, but they need to make the game good, not everything else. The primary thing should be the game, and they've not even mentioned how they're doing that with investment for monetization. That's not great. And yeah, not great. What I've always, and I have said, and it's a complaint of mine, one of my aspirations as a career after I do this content creator thing is to be a community manager. And every single community manager within the industry, minus Riot, has the same job, being the communication piece for the game and being vocal and actually talking about the game, being with the community, going on podcasts, having community events, doing all that stuff is what should be happening. And that's how you build a ethos of the company still cares about the game. League doesn't do that. Riot doesn't really do that. There are community managers, but they do it in different ways. There isn't this front running, oh, there's a community manager and they're like a vocal piece. We used to have one many years ago. I think his name was Ben Forbes, I think his name, Riot Draggles or something like that. Years ago, he was that. He was actually a pretty good communication piece for Riot, but he got, I think, a bit senior and he might have moved into a different department. We don't really have one of those anymore. And I think Riot is really missing a trick, not having an actual vocal piece of the in-between between the game and the community. And that's how you get all those like weird situations of Freak and August having to answer, and then bad situations happen because they are not, that's not what their job is. They're developers, they're not communication people. And then a lot of the time messes happen because, you know, Freak is definitely not a communication person. August is better, but it's not really supposed to be his job. And I think to show the community that Riot themselves still cares about League, they should have that communication person that's actually active and open. And, you know, they've been making these videos with Bright Moon and Medler. That's great, but in a weird way, it shouldn't even still be them. It's cool that it's them, but where is your head of community that does those videos? Like, where's your head of community that does a monthly check-in? Where's your head of community that does an AMA that isn't answering questions, but collecting questions to go to developers? That doesn't happen. Like, it just really doesn't happen. So that's what I would say. That's one of my biggest complaints within Riot. Winning in League is about playing better, not spending money. Okay. So the core of League of Legends is competition and mastery. Any form of power that can be purchased, like champions, can also be unlocked for free over time by just playing. You can be the best player in the world without spending anything on the game, which is true, technically. Again, historically and famously, Faker, the most decorated player of all time, arguably one of the best players there's ever been and never will be, he doesn't use skins. And I bet Riot hates that, by the way. Like, because when you're in Faker, the most famous person of all time, if he's playing Rise and he uses a skin, that skin would sell. People want to be, I aspire to be Faker. It's the same as, like, if you're watching football in the UK, a really big thing, and I'm sure it's happening around the world, is what boots they're wearing they sell more. You know, if Ronaldo is wearing, I don't know, Nike, whatever the hell they're called nowadays, kids buy those. It's the same with skins in video games. As silly as it may sound, it's true. So the best player arguably ever not using skins, Riot will hate that, but I respect Faker for doing it. And I remember once there was a weird situation in a tournament that his PC was messing up. They put him into the game again on the same champion he already locked in, but they actually put a skin on. He was apparently really angry about it. But it just shows Faker, who doesn't use skins, is the top level player, doesn't use cosmetics. So it's true, you don't have to use them. So when we wrote our last article, we talked about runes and champions not being paid to win because we believed players could easily get enough of them to complete on a level playing field, even if they didn't have all of them. Since then, we removed old runes, which I will say I partially miss in some ways, and made champions easier to unlock, both by making them cheaper and adding ways to unlock them for free. Xbox Game Pass, for example. You should win or lose because of how you play your champion, not which champs you own. I slightly disagree with that. Slightly. Because that's now edging on to balance, and LoL's balance has been a little bit iffy for a while. Like, you can play a lot of champions in the game right now, but we all know that top 10% of champions that you should just play. Like, we all know that. Like, I don't know when this video is coming out, but I'm back on the Huzzy account, and I'm wanting to climb that account a bit. Yeah, I'm just playing the top 10% OP champs. I'm playing Yone, Silas, stuff like that, because they are stupidly easy and strong. So, yeah, in theory, if you play your champion well, you can climb, sure. But it's a lot easier if you play the really OP ones. So there is, I would say that's on the line of, it's not monetization, that's more balance, but still. I do think, though, since obviously the last article, has Riot made it more accessible to get champions? Yes, they have. So across the board, champions themselves are cheaper, and that's one thing that Riot has done. And there's Xbox Game Pass, so if you've got Xbox Game Pass, link your League of Legends account. Only one account you can do, but you own every champion. That's really good. That's very accessible. That's good for new players. Because one of the biggest complaints, I remember when I was in university, I was obviously known in university as the League of Legends guy. And I remember a Dota 2 player being quite snarky, going, you know, oh, you have to buy champions. That's stupid. And I didn't really get it at the time, but I can kind of see it a bit of like, you know, you want to play this game and boom, you can't play champs. But it's a free-to-play game. I would 100% agree if it was a paid game and you then couldn't own champions. That's moronic. I think Overwatch 2 has roughly that, like, oh, you have to buy it, or maybe that one's now free-to-play, but, like, some games you still buy and you still don't own stuff. And it's like, eh? So, it is good that they've made that more accessible, so I will say that. So we also hold a firm line selling power through cosmetics. Ooh, I don't know about that, but there'll never be a skin that gives a... Okay, that's what they're meaning. So there'll never be a Teemo skin that gives him a different range on his Q, or Lux that gives her more damage on R. Yeah, I was about to say there are some skins that have advantages. That said, we know we've missed the mark on gameplay clarity with several skins in the past. We'll be investing time in 2024 to correct some of these. For example, we're using the Lee Sin ASU as an opportunity to address issues with his Storm Dragon skin. Okay, so Lee Sin's getting an ASU, apparently. There you go. I don't know if that was ever confirmed, but that's cool. So he's getting a model update and everything. So yeah, the Storm Dragon skin, I can't remember completely in detail, but I know some of his animations are a little bit funky. I think one of the biggest examples that I can give... excuse me if I get the name of the skin line wrong, but like Empyrean or something like that. It's the kind of outline silhouette colory skins. Those were awful, and I remember people blowing up a bit about those because about, I don't know, 6 months to a year before then they released those skins, Riot did a whole article about gameplay clarity and how they can't make certain skins because you have to know what champion you're against, and if you're a new player, it's hard as it is to learn all the champions, but then if there's a skin that it's so, you know, it blends into each other, or it's very hard to like who's who, it makes it even harder. And then they released the whole skin line that's just silhouettes, and it was like, that really goes against your own ethos, Riot. Like, you've literally said you'll never do that, and then you did it. So I don't know if those skins are going to be addressed in 2024. Like, again, you have to remember, like Riot says, we hold a firm line against selling power through cosmetics. There is still to this day banned skins in pro play. There are some skins you cannot play in pro play. Some of them they have addressed and they've been unbanned. I think I remember the last time I played Blitzcrank with the eye blitz skin, I said, oh, he's banned in pro play, and a few of my viewers were actually like, oh no, they fixed that, you can play him again. But there are probably still some skins that you can't play in pro play because they have either better animations, or they have, even in some cases, lack of animations, and there just is that slight advantage. And all you need, again, is a couple % advantage over a base skin or a different skin, and that is paying for power. Yes, it's not mechanically paying of power, of more damage or more range. Sure, those are extreme examples, but even different animations on different skins on the same champion can be seen as paying for power. Again, historically, and again, one they have fixed, I believe, Kayle. Kayle had not a great animation set on her base skin and default skin and all of the old skins. And when the legendary Aether Wing Kayle, I think it's called, came out, completely new animation set. It was way better. Like, to play Kayle, you basically had to play that legendary skin. That is an advantage. And yes, they've fixed that since, but there are still examples of that existing. All right, next up is many players will never spend a single dollar in League of Legends, and we believe this should be the case for a free-to-play game that doesn't sell competitive competitive power. We aren't in the business of forcing you to spend to enjoy. I will agree with that. The average player doesn't spend any money. Like what I say, the average player doesn't spend any money, but the average player also doesn't care about any of this stuff too. So that's what I would also say, is Riot acknowledges that the average player doesn't spend money. They also have to acknowledge the average player doesn't care about any of this other stuff here. They care about the game. So their primary thing should be making the game as healthy as possible. So I don't know whether they have been prioritizing the game for so long. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like, you know, Scrooge McDuck. I like the Netflix series Arcane. That's cool. Like, I like that. But none of that should be more important than the actual video game itself, you know? All right, you should feel good about what you buy. Okay, so we make money by offering optional extras that are so cool, you buy them, we hope, even though you don't need them. If you buy something in League, you should feel good about what you got for your money, even when you look back months later. Again, like I said, I gave the example about Kayle. Sometimes you do need to buy that skin. Maybe it's rarer nowadays, but it still exists. So this isn't a promise that you'll always be happy about how much something costs. And we acknowledge that the line of affordability is highly personal. But for some folks, buying a 1350 skin might mean skipping plans with friends. That's a hard decision to make. And yeah, you should never buy a skin over spending time with friends. We understand that tying content to bundles, purchase milestones, mission completions, or time gating can feel just as bad as an unaffordable price tag, but when you load into the game, it should feel worth it. So what I would say personally, again, as I've mentioned, I'm not doing as much loot pretty much at all anymore because of their predatory thing with the Jhin thing. I think Riot really needs to address the affordability again within League and really think about what they want to do. Because there has been a growing concern that there's been a few things and you can add them together. Back in the day, you had really cheap skins that were 450 RP skins, and they were just chromas. And that's why they don't exist anymore, because they've got chromas. Fair enough. But then you had 975 RP skins, you had then 1350 RP skins, you had 1820 RP skins, and then you had the over 3000 ultimate skins. If I look into the store now, they're all 1350 RP. The default skin has gone up, and that doesn't also necessarily mean the quality of the average skin has gone up. A lot of skins are just the 975 RP quality, the cheaper quality, but they're at the higher price tag. I think that is a bit yeah. And every year, you know, practically every year, they raise how much, like, you get less Riot points for your money. And I know inflation exists, and I know that is going to happen, but I think Riot does it a bit more aggressively than they need to. Again, it's been a few years since we've had like a profit leak from Riot, but they were a very profitable company the last time we heard of anything about their profit margin. I do think it's a bit predatory. And again, the Jhin thing, as I've mentioned, is just so stupid. But we'll see if they mention about that at all. So, loot is also designed with this principle in mind. You can expect good value from each individual chest, orb, or capsule buy. Yeah, that's definitely not true. And if you max out on a rewards track, the total value from that set of purchases will always be higher than what you spend on it. Sometimes you'll get lucky and score something like Mythic Essence or an Ultimate Skin on an individual purchase, but the worst outcome will still give good value for your money. And for things that don't have a direct price tag, like rewards on a track, you'll always know the maximum possible spend needed. So that's, again, the $200 skin for Jhin. So why is it called the $200 skin? So it's a gacha system that you could, in theory, open one orb and boom, you get the skin. The percentage of that happening is so minute, it won't really happen. And then sure, statistically, it's probably happened to a few people, but for the average person, no. The average person with the statistics, it would likely basically mean, as I said here, you'll always know the maximum possible spend needed. Yeah, that was $200 to get the Jhin skin, and most people were spending the $200 to get the Jhin skin because they made the odds so low that you practically had to get to the $200 mark. Not great. Not great to do that. And I'm fine, by the way, and I think a lot of people within the community have also kind of agreed. I'm fine with them doing crazy skins. I'm fine with them doing expensive skins. I just don't want them to hide behind a gacha system to do it. Like, make a crazy $200 skin, but don't be like, hey, just keep buying those orbs and maybe you'll get it. No, do it like, you know, if you just care about that Jhin skin, you shouldn't need to buy $200 worth of stuff you don't care about just to get the Jhin skin. Put the Jhin skin on the store for $100. Put it for $100 and people will buy it who just care about the Jhin skin. There'll be people out there that would be willing to buy it, I bet, who are Jhin one tricks and mains. They don't want all the other fluff that comes with it. They don't care. They just want the Jhin skin. So just give that option. At least it's open and honest. And it's like, okay, you can buy it. It's $100. That would be better. And, you know, have it in the gacha system if you want it, but at least offer an alternative. And the alternative isn't give it for free. No, it's a cosmetic. It should be bought. Fair enough. But at least be open and be like, right, you just care about the Jhin skin. Fair enough. And I don't even know, like, you could even do things of like, okay, you've got Mastery 7 on Jhin. You care about that champion. You've unlocked the reward that you can just purchase the skin individually. Stuff like that. And that's a nod to the community that cares about that champion if you're going to do a crazy skin like that. Put it in the gacha system still for everybody else, but maybe give a nod to the actual community that likes the champion a lot. Maybe that's a good alternative. Okay, so we'll also continue to put safeguards in place to protect people who want to spend their money on League. We have a strong protections against accidental purchases because we don't want to trick you into buying something without realizing it. We have daily purchase limits on loot to prevent unhealthy spending decisions and protect players whose accounts have been compromised. We offer refunds on things that people bought but haven't used because we don't want you to sell stuff you don't want. And we also offer a limited number of refunds of purchases that fall outside the policy because spending money on League should feel worth it. Yeah, they probably have some of these things in place. I'll be honest, I didn't actually know they have daily caps and anything like that, so I didn't even know that. And I would say one of the things that Riot does do, whether it be good or bad, and some people say it's a good thing to do because of protection of uncompromised accounts. Let's say you do a purchase and for some reason the purchase was allowed, but technically you didn't have the money in your account, and the amount when it actually tries to get withdrawn bounces, your League account gets banned. Until you pay up, your League account gets banned. And if you do pay up and you talk to Riot support and you kind of settle that, it'll get unbanned. It's both good and bad, like, obviously, because, you know, you could just do an accidental thing and, you know, you thought you had the money and poof, you're banned. And it could probably, for some people, be like, what? But I guess it is a good thing that if your account gets compromised and you talk to your bank and be like, any purchases from Riot Games, do not let them go through. Then obviously if someone who's compromised your account tries to buy something with your saved details on the account, because a lot of people just has payments saved, don't do that, by the way, then at least the account can get banned if they tried to buy something. But that is something that I know Riot does do, which I think is a good thing, but it can be annoying for people who are just caught in the crossfire a bit. But yeah, I don't know. You should feel good about what you buy. I don't necessarily agree with all of this. Again, Riot historically, again, is giving you less Riot points for your money every year They're giving you less loot for Riot points every year. They do things like, I don't even know why they do it. They have made it so like some orbs give you 3 skins per purchase. I don't know, and obviously they probably have spoken to some like psychiatrists to get into the human psyche. But me personally, I would rather see, like, let's say I want to do a big loot video or a loot unboxing. I would much rather there be 25 individual loot orbs that give me a one thing each loot orb, rather than there's just 10. There's just 10 things that open and you get 3 things per, or something. Like, the more psychologically, to me, gives you a better feeling about what you've bought. If you're giving less loot individual things per purchase, that's not a positive thing. Psychologically, you know, it could be mathematically basically identical. Like, okay, instead of having 20 loot orbs that give 1 thing each, we're giving you 10 loot orbs that give 2 things each. I'd prefer the 20. Psychologically, I'd prefer the 20 because that to me is like, oh, I've got more stuff to open. And Riot seems to sometimes go the other way. But yeah. All right, so what you get out of League reflects what's important to you. I could kind of see this, because if you don't care about cosmetics, fair enough. If you just care about ranked, you can play ranked. But, and this is the aspect that is just more personal to you. So different players care about different parts of League and spend their time and money accordingly. We will make things that are specially meaningful to the parts of League that you care about. For many of you, your relationship to the game has changed over time. Some of us who started buying skins with their allowance as teenagers are adults now with jobs and families, and it's understandable for those that that those changes can shift how someone relates to a game that they've played for over a decade. We want to make sure that League remains rewarding to you, even as what you're looking to get out of it changes with time. What this means is just some skins are granted to ranked achievers at the exclusion of non-ranked mains of those champs. We'll add things to the game that distinctly reward other kinds of commitment to League. Money! Again, they should just say it. Don't hide behind it. It's like, right, you know, for example, we've got the Tryndamere ranked skin coming out. I don't know why they picked Tryndamere. But yeah, if you're a Tryndamere normal player, you don't play any ranked, but you one-trick Tryndamere and normals, you don't get that skin. And that's what Riot is saying. Is like, you know, that's for ranked players. If you want it, you have to play ranked. But if you don't want to play ranked, you don't get that skin. Fair enough. So what Riot is saying is, because we do that, it allows us to release exclusive things for those people that are really rich and can afford it. And I don't disagree with that. I just wish they would just be open and say it. I think hiding behind commitment to other League is just kind of going, just say it. I would respect the company and respect what they're saying a lot more if they just said it. Going, you get stuff in ranked for being a good ranked player. You can buy stuff too. Cool. Are we cool? Cool. We're done. Like, that's fine. Like, just say that. I don't know why they'd hide it. So deep dive supporting specific motivation. So since this is new to the model, we want to break down a few spaces where we think doing an alright job of rewarding player investment. Okay, I don't want to like really go nuts in this, but let's see. So playing the game. So we want to reward you for playing League of Legends consistently over time. In the past, we gave out IP and runes and champions. Today, we give out blue essence, orange essence, skin shards, emotes, icons, and mythic essence. Beyond that, we have a bunch of systems, summoner level, event meta games, and event missions. They are designed to reward the time investment of people that play the game, as well as event passes for players willing to spend a bit more to get more for their time. While the specific currencies and systems may change over time, you should feel like your playing is well spent. I'm going to be honest, event missions kind of feel pointless if you're not buying the event pass. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but yeah, realistically, if you're not buying the event pass, you may as well ignore event missions. Like, it just isn't worth paying attention to. Summoner level, that doesn't really give anything. Event metagames, don't even know what that is. But, I don't know, like, sure, blue essence is the standard currency of any game. It's a free-to-play essence. Orange essence is the loot free-to-play essence. So like, that's to buy champions, that's to buy skins for free. Skin shards you get very occasionally for free. Emotes you do get a little bit, but they're emotes. Icons, sure, but most people don't really change icon that much, but yeah. Competition. So we think our ranked exclusive skins are in a good spot and strong long-standing example of what reward tailored for a specific type of player. We'll have more to share about ranked rewards in 2024. So I would say yes and no. Are ranked awards good? Yes. Do the vast majority of player care about the specific victorious skin that you're releasing? No. again, the Victorious Tryndamere is probably going to be the least popular Victorious skin of all time. He's a really niche champion, very one-dimensional playstyle, has a very dedicated player base, but that's about it. I don't think they should just do, and again, they've done it since the beginning, and that's why they still do it now. You know, we had Victorious Janna, Victorious Jarvan, and Victorious Elise, I think, were the first three. Not everybody plays those champs. So we're eventually obviously going to be getting 3 of these per year, because obviously historically it was one ranked season per year. We got 1 Victorious skin. Then this last year is the first year of 2 rank splits. And then next year, we're going up to 3 rank splits per year. So in theory, there's going to be 3 Victoria skins per split. I don't know if they should do something better, you know, again, it's a big investment, but make a Victoria skin for every single champion in the game. And then each split, can use your token to unlock the Victoria skin that you want. That would be a way better system, because at least then you're not just like, I don't really care about Victorious Tryndamere. I don't know. Veterancy, or I was where when me, I'm old. So most of how players show off how long they've been playing the game is through awards that they were only available during specific moments. I agree. These can be controversial. Nobody like this misses out. But what makes something like Black Alistair really cool is you can't just decide to buy it in the shop today. I agree. Having Black Alistair means you were there from the start of it all. I agree. So why do they keep doing like old skins coming back? They literally just did it with Jax. And people go, oh no, it's different. It's not Pax Jax, it's Neo Pax. It still diminishes Pax Jax a bit. You know, it does. It does diminish it a bit. So we've been hesitant to embrace this motivation because League doesn't have many memorable moments aside from ranked seasons, which makes it hard for time-gated rewards to feel like they're celebrating anything. If we could go back in time, we'd make it clearer that Black Alistair was tied to the digital collector's edition of League of Legends, with victorious skins reserved for ranked achievers. Non-ranked players in particular don't have great ways of showing how long they've been part of the community. We don't have any immediate updates to share on how we're going to be better to serve this motivation, but it's an area we're looking into. I'm not sad about that. Again, King Rammus, Silver Kale, Human or Tribal Rise, Judgment Kale, you know, these are all skins you should never be able to get again. I hope they don't release them. And again, they're saying here people value those. They do. But yeah, I don't know. Again, people love the anniversary skin. For League 10, the 10-year anniversary of the game, they did anniversary. You know, there's a lot of players now that don't have that skin. Do a seasonal skin that's not tied to rank. Just make a one-off skin that's just for the season. I don't know. Do it tied with the Chinese New Year. I don't, like, literally, like, that's cool. Every Chinese New Year has a different animal. I think we're about to go into the dragon or something. Make a dragon skin for somebody. Like, that would be cool. And then you could know, oh, you had the Chinese dragon New Year skin. You must have played in 2024. Like, that's cool. Do something like that. Champion maining. Players who play a champion a ton should be recognized for their dedication. We know our current champion mastery system isn't doing a great job at the moment. We're exploring upgrades to 24. Yeah, the champion mastery system is never going to mean anything to players who don't care about the champion mastery system, because it can't go down. I've always said this, like, and some people have agreed and some people disagreed. So basically what I'm saying it should be turned into is a ranked system, in essence. If you're good with your champion, you go up in rank. If you're bad with your champion, you go down in rank. The fact that somebody could be Iron 5, which doesn't even exist, but that kind of goes with the point, and has 12 million mastery points on Singed, that shows how meaningless the system is. Like, you can get Mastery 7 by just playing a few games. Like, you know, you get Mastery 5 by playing a bit, and you get Mastery 6 by having a few S- scores, and then you get Mastery 7 by having a few S or S+ scores. That ain't hard. You know, you could play 100,000 games of League, you will eventually get that. It doesn't mean you're good with the champ. I think the champion mastery system needs to be overhauled to actually show if you're good with the champion or not. Yes, do dedication. Have again, one of the ideas I've seen float around for years is in Smite, an alternate MOBA to League. There is a prestige skin that if you play so much of the champion, you literally unlock, I think, golden version of the champion. Do that. If you hit Mastery 7, but in a more ranked-ful way, not just like default, you just go up all the time without going down, unlock a golden chroma for the default skin. That's all it needs. That's really cool. That's all it needs. It's really easy to do. That's what I would say. Luxury goods. Ooh, there we go. I see $200, baby. All right. So, yes, we know we just coined a new meme. Don't take credit. The vast majority of our paid stuff is at lower price points, and things will stay that way. That said, we dropped mythic variants on you out of nowhere and didn't explain what we were doing. So here's what's up. By making it more rewarding to invest time in League, we've chipped away at the uniqueness of what you can get through spending. For example, the original Prestige KDA Kaiser and Akali skins required significantly more time or money to unlock than Prestige skins nowadays, which are essentially finish lines for standard events. Prestige skins are more common now because of our choice to make them more accessible. Okay, I don't see them that often, but sure. This created a gap in our catalogue for players who want to set themselves apart through luxury goods. The whales, as we call them in League of Legends. I'm technically one of them. These are players that mythic variants like Dark Cosmic Eraser Jhin and Breakout True Damage Echo are meant for. With that said, there's no way that a $200 skin in League can be can 10 times be better than a $20 skin. True. Mostly because we can't add 10 times the features of a legendary without utterly destroying gameplay clarity. The bar should be still high though, and we know Dark Cosmic Erasure Jhin fell short. We shot ourselves in the foot by betting that less impressive skin, and it was literally a chroma, by the way, just to make that very clear. It wasn't a new skin, it was a chroma on the existing Dark Cosmic Jhin skin. That's the worst thing. Would be less upsetting to folks who couldn't afford it than really impressive skin would be. Oh, so that's what they're saying is, we made it just basically a chroma because people wouldn't be that upset if they couldn't afford it. That's a really bad mentality to have. But anyway, based on those results, we pivoted mid-development to level up a breakout True Damage Echo. We will continue to refine our offerings in this space to serve players who want these sort of luxury goods. Part of that is hitting the right quality bar, and part of it is making the right number of these skins per year. Not many, I hope. We also know most players aren't able to, or just don't want to, flex how much they can spend on one skin. Yeah, that's stupid. We're keeping a number of luxury goods low because we want to make makes more sense for everyone to keep the vast majority of our time focused on content at lower price points. We want to develop optional, desirable cosmetics along the entire price curve, not just high end. While some things will be highly priced, other things will be... So they're basically just trying to say we're going to continue doing that, which... If they want to continue doing that, just make sure it's not a $200 chroma. Make it a separate skin. Make it a completely new skin. Don't base it on anything you've done in the past. It's a new skin. And dare I say, do other things. Like, I'm sure it came with a summoner icon, but make sure it came with a summoner icon. Make sure it comes with a loading screen border. Make sure it comes with something more unique. Like, you've got on your profile on League of Legends, you can set, obviously, the background and everything. Maybe do something more fancy. If you buy one of those skins, that you can have, like, a whole animated thing going on your profile. I don't know, something. Just make it more value. But then TLDR, or to recap, so we care about making a great game above everything else. Apart from, they had one line about the game. They had one line about the game, and then they mentioned everything but the game. That's not great, Riot. Winning a league is about better playing, not spending money. I do agree with that. You should feel good about what you buy, and that's getting worse over time. And what you get out of League reflects what's important to you. That's a bit of a non-point. But as we evolve and improve in the future, we'll explain how these are new features and changes fit with these values. We look forward to continuing the conversation with you. But there we go. So, as a lot of these blogs have some quite non-answers, but at least they do them. And I've always said that. Like, yes, sometimes they're a bit of fluff and they don't really say too much, but at least they do them. Communication is key. It's like I said earlier, I want Riot to have community managers that actually talk to the community as a whole. They don't have that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Are you buying stuff in League to this day? Are you taking a break? Let me know. It would genuinely be interesting to know. But if you made it to the end of the video, which again, this went longer than expected, because of the author is just a capybara, put capybara in your comment and I know you made it to the end. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power.